Michael, Palworld won't be going free to play after all. Grant Taylor-Hill over at Insider Gaming. Recently, a discussion surfaced regarding the possibility of Palworld becoming a live service game, with PocketPair pivoting to run a free-to-play operating model. This topic emerged following comments from the CEO that were unearthed and that suggested the future of the game hadn't been decided yet. However, earlier the other day, the team at PocketPair put those suggestions to bed, categorically stating that Palworld will not become a free-to-play or live service game.
Nice.
So here's the statement. It was only yesterday that chatter turned a Palworld becoming a games of service title, but that line of discussion has already been closed down by PocketPair. It was revealed that the comments were based mostly on an interview that was conducted several months ago when PocketPair was just starting with Palworld and hadn't yet mapped out the game's future. In social media, the team said this. At that time, we were still considering the best way forward for Palworld to create a long-lasting game that continues to grow. We are still discussing this internally, as it is quite challenging to find the ideal path, but we have already decided that the free-to-play and games of service approach is not suitable for us. Palworld was never designed with that model in mind, and it will require too much work to adapt the game at this point. Additionally, we are very aware that this just isn't what our players want. Dude, that's the best part right there. They're listening to the players, right? And we always put our players first. You can't go wrong. Dude, you can't go wrong. You listen to your community. They tell you what they want. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
They're willing to pay for the product, Michael.
Yeah, I mean, this is how you and I think a lot of people grew up playing video games, right? I'm going to pay you $50, and now it's $60, and now it's $70, unfortunately. But I'm going to pay you money, and I'm going to get a game. And I'm going to be able to play that game as long as I want. You'll release a DLC. I'll pay you another $30. I'm going to get the DLC. And away we go. Our transaction is done. And I'm so glad that they stuck with this. I was reading a lot of the discourse online when this came out. It seems like maybe that was for a few months ago, and there was miscommunication, but there was a lot of people like, what? Did they already blow through the millions and billions of dollars they made in Palworld with this big launch, and all of a sudden, now they need more money, and that's why they're going to go this games as a service, and this is why we're going to have a battle pass? So there's definitely a lot of confusion among the fans, at least from what I was reading, of like, where'd all this money we gave you go, right? Because that's the one thing for Palworld that is one of those early access games that always is sort of a weird black mark on the industry, because there's been a ton where it's like early access, everyone gets hyped, and then there's games that are still in early access 10 years later. So it's like, what does early access even mean at this point? So no, I'm glad Palworld's listening. Personally, I wish more games would go to this. This is how, again, that's how I grew up, Drew. I know this is how you grew up. I wish we would stick to this model. I understand the battle pass. I understand the games as a service and why it draws people in and why it makes studios money. But I just miss the days, Drew. I would go into a store, I'd pay them money, the game would get a cut, I would get my game, and away we go, and we'd never have to make another transaction, and I could play my game until I got bored of it.
Well, which is fair, right? But we see the games of service model rise, come and go, Concord, come and go within 2 weeks on PlayStation. I think it's one of those models, right? You got to be careful when you decide to go this way.
Yep.
I think we will eventually see Palworld go free to play.
Yeah.
Here's why. Player retention falls off, right? How do you get a new surge of players? You go free to play. Offer them a way to get in. Maybe not offer them the complete package. Maybe you do this tier structure, right? Maybe you only offer, hey, here's the first little part of the world. You want the rest of the game? Pay $20 or whatever that looks like, right? So it's one of those things, but it is an interesting model for them to just come out and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to go free to play. This is our model. People are already bought in. Like you say, right? They have millions of dollars. They signed this deal with Sony over there too to go transmedia and get into like plushies and who knows what else they're going to do. So it's kind of they're expanding already. They don't need the free to play model. They've already made so much money that they're already working on what's next for the studio. I think that's the biggest push, right? Keep this game alive, but get ready for what's to come next. There are more and more expansions already coming down the line. I don't think we've seen the end of Palworld by any means. And the fact that they're not going to go free to play tells me they got more stuff in the tank yet, and they are not done.